Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Bisection by Sheila Jenne. This is the book that came out in 2024. It's a sci-fi, it's self-published. I received this book from the SBSFC4 where I am a judge. It is a very worthy self-finalist. I absolutely adored this book. For people like me who love to nerd out on alien cultures, this book is an absolute delight. An absolute delight. What is it about? Triss and Reza have shared the same body since they were born. Like everyone on their home planet of Kinaru, their mind and body are divided down the logical right and the emotional left. Tria, the right, has a budding career as a biologist, while Reza dreams of more freedom than their home planet Cancer. When aliens land on Kinaru, Tria and Reza seize the opportunity to be the first of their people to travel to the stars. Karnath, the alien scientist assigned to study them, is convinced there is more to the Kinaru than meets the eye. But only days into the trip, crew members start turning up dead, and a mutiny redirects the ship towards a forbidden, war-torn planet, Earth. To solve a conspiracy that threatens 3 planets, Tria must find out the truth of who her people really are, and Reza needs to finally tell Tria the dark secrets she's been hiding all their lives. This book seems to have been written specifically for me. It checks off almost every single box of what I love in sci-fi. A unique idea, in this case, the bisection, detailed alien species, and not only that, but reptile aliens experiencing Earth for the first time, a dive into a real issue, in this case oppression, and a bit of romance. As xenoanthropologists dream, this book delves deep into the culture of not only the Shatakazan, I think that's how you Shatakazan, I don't know, the reptile aliens, but Tria and Reza's people. Sometimes alien cultures are added to stories as almost set dressing. Star Wars does this, we don't really find a lot of culture stuff in Star Wars. But in this case, it feels like an episode of Star Trek because the story would not exist without the cultural biological aspects of the aliens. And how amazing are they? I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to talk for them at all. But Tria and Reza's bisected personalities are absolutely fascinating. The Shatakazan strike that balance of different enough but not too weird that certain things that happen later on would be impossible. One of the things I'm dying to talk about, I am going to include in a spoiler at the end, but this book does kind of take the convergent evolution approach that, in this universe, we all kind of evolved to be bipedal and have, can speak and have 2 eyes, things like that. So I like that. I prefer aliens like that who are more relatable than blob aliens or ethereal dust or something like that. In terms of the story, I think some people would find the first third actually a little slow because a lot of it is just the comparison. A lot of it is just the characters comparing social and biological differences. Did I find that slow? No, it was my favorite part of the novel. It was so well thought out with fun details like different gestures for yes and no, and how Tria sees the color green, which we see as, natural, as healthy, but she sees as acidic or a warning signal. There's the different social groupings of the Shatakazan, which were really inspiring to me to craft another book in my Escaping First Contact world. I loved coming up with those details in my own writing, and so to read another book where someone else has come up with these really cool, very detailed, very precise looks into different culture, I just was like, I'm gonna stop. Okay. The rest of the story is fun with a murder mystery, a conspiracy, a bit of going on the run, and a twist/trope we've seen many times before, but it fit with the plot and it didn't feel shoehorned in. Besides, we already have a unique concept in the book that is at the heart of it, bisection, so to have a really complex twist at the end might have actually competed for attention from the bisection part of it. So I was like, I don't care if we've seen this before. The characters were great. Tria and Reza had the most of the attention because the story's in their perspective. In fact, it's in first person, and for me, that's as I've said before on my channel, I don't gravitate towards first person, but when there's a first person book that I like, it tends to be a first person book that I love. Their dynamic required a great deal of focus, but how she managed to create distinct narrative voices between the 2 beings existing in the same body was really well done. Even if I didn't look at the name at the start of the chapter, I wouldn't, but I forgot somehow, I could tell if it was Reza or Tria speaking. The side characters were fun too. The Shatakazan sort of blended together, but the 3 who were really important were easy to separate from the rest as they had kind of distinct personality traits. One of the great aspects of the novel that elevated it in my mind was the very nuanced and thorough dive into the nature of benevolent oppression. How people can think that laws that are in place to protect others are helping them when in fact they are doing the opposite. It forced a character to really look at their privilege, and while they weren't cruel to those that were oppressed, they had to realize their complacency was making life harder for those that they were unknowingly oppressing. This has so much relevance to our society in myriad ways. So the fact that it was included, in a book that was really, in essence, just a fun alien adventure story, really elevated in my mind to something that is, like goes further and is what science fiction is meant to do. The only critique of the book I really have is that there were some typos here and there and a few tense issues, but they were very minor. I probably only noticed them because I was devouring every word on the page with such focus. And the writing itself, flowed nicely with a few passages here and there that were lovely, like, here there was music and love and art, and none of it was for me. And I was never confused about what was going on. Overall, if you couldn't tell, I absolutely love this book. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I will be bereft if it doesn't make the finals. Of course, it's not up to me. I do have that spoiler I want to talk about, so if you're, not staying for that, thank you so much for checking out this review. If you are staying, please note it is a big spoiler, so if you have any interest in this book, read the book first, and you'll probably guess what the spoiler is about, so anyway, here we go. I loved the romance. I loved it. It's very minor. It's very subtle. As soon as the aliens were relatively humanoid and a bond started forming between Karnath, my little shipper heart started chugging away. And then the book did it. It gave me what I wanted. A sort of forbidden romance between Reza and Karnath at first, where I honestly wasn't sure whether they were going to get a happy ever after. I was like, how is this going to work? Is it going to work? Is this just a tease and then they're going to agree that it's not going to work? But then we got a great smooch. And to put the cherry on top, we even got a closed door sex scene. Oh, I was so excited. I was like, this is the best. This is the best. I was reading it and my husband's like, why are you smiling over there? And I'm like, I can't explain it to you. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much to the author for that. I really appreciated that in my life. It was a bright spot. Yeah. So, thanks.